What's going on everyone? Anthony here with AC Toys and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we are reviewing the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Pirantishead. Now this is the second figure in this deluxe wave that they are now calling it. I believe they just dropped the term monster line. I guess they just didn't sell well enough for them to like continue like a full monster line. So now they're kind of mix it in with their deluxe figures, which if you remember my last review was of TJ with the Galaxy Glider. So today I was able to find this at a different GameStop. As you can see here, it is your standard typical Power Rangers Lightning Collection box style. You have the artwork right here on the side, window display of the figure, Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Pirantishead. The artwork that wraps around to the side. You have the Power Rangers logo right there at the top. Artwork of the Pirantishead monster himself on the other side. You have blue at the top, legalese at the bottom. There's the barcode if you need to get this scanned at Target or GameStop or wherever these guys are showing up. And then you have 3D rendering of the monster himself. Now, one thing to note is that it does look like, based off the 3D rendering, that it would come with an actual like metal chain nunchuck or fish flute, whatever this thing is, but it does not. It only comes with a plastic chain, so that's just something to be wary of. But enough of the packaging. Let's go ahead and crack this guy open and see how cool he actually is. All right, and here we have the figure out of packaging, and I'm gonna have to say, so far, just by basing it off the looks, how he's looking right now, he's probably one of my favorites of the entire monster line. But before we get too much into him, what do you say we take a quick look at his accessories? Because he actually doesn't come with quite a lot. He comes with his nunchuck flutes. That is his signature weapon right here. So as you can see, it is just a little plastic chain. It's not like a real metal chain, obviously. They aren't going to give us the budget for that in this line, at least not for a non-exclusive figure. The fish on the nunchuck itself is sculpted very nicely, very lacking in paint. It's basically just like a lightish grayish blue plastic, but not too bad. The chain itself, or plastic chain, is painted in yellow. I'm assuming this is all just the same color, and they just used the silver paint to paint the nunchuck chain. So there you go. And then he comes with the lightning effect, which I believe this is a new one. You just kind of like wrap it around here and like kind of gives it that like swooshing effect, like he's swinging it like a nunchuck. Not too bad. Not the best, not the worst. And then he comes with one kind of like half gripping hand right here, a closed fist right there, and then two open palm hands as some extra hand accessories. And that is basically it. But he also does come with a back, I don't think this is a dorsal fin, but it's a back fin that comes off separately in the packaging. So there is some assembly required. Just kind of like put that in there. Not really a snap, but that does complete his look. And that is basically all he comes with as far as accessories. So like one nunchuck flute, one lightning effect, and 4 interchangeable hands. So if you want to see that, just gotta pop this out. Hopefully it doesn't break. There we go. Got one out. And if you kind of like just want to see him like kind of like have a little grip or like a little action pose with one of the hands, there you go. And if you wanted to see him hold the nunchuck flute, just kind of like port this one into the weapon holding hand, and then you can have him look like he's swinging it, or maybe like he's playing it to do the little blast effects. I'm not missing one, am I? I could have sworn they shown like a little blast effect in the preview. Anyways, so yeah, that is basically it as far as accessories. So what do you say we go ahead and jump into the details of this figure? Okay, jumping into the details of this figure, this guy is sculpted amazingly. He's extremely detailed, textures everywhere. There is nothing obviously reused about this figure, which is a great thing about the monster line. It's basically all new sculpting. So for us to get this many different monsters this close to each other is actually quite amazing on Hasbro's part. Most of the time, you know, it's a lot of reuse parts that we get for like bigger figures. Even if it's just like 1 or 2 items that have been reused from like a different sculpt. Obviously, this guy is all new. There's nothing you could have reused from this guy, like Eye Guy or Pumpkin Wrapper or King Sphinx. That's the one great thing about the monster line. I know a lot of people hate the sizing. I, for one, love the scale, but it is what it is. So you got some nice, like, I don't want to say scaly, but he's definitely like a wrinkly texture going on all around him. The fins that come off of him look great. You got the tail that wraps down here. More fins going on his legs right here. Obviously, the two on top of his head. Now, this is what I would call a scaly texture, and this looks phenomenal. So, give you a little turnaround. His face sculpt is probably the best I've seen as far as this Lightning Collection goes in the monster line. Very greatly sculpted. Nice, mean, menacing look. Really captures how he looked in the show. And if you guys are unaware about which monster this is, this is the first monster from Season 2 that Lord Zed, when he came into Season 2, created out of a piranha to fight the Power Rangers. And basically what destroyed the Megazord and forced him to get new powers. So that's really great right here. So yeah, I think the only one downside about this figure is that he's not pinless. Not too big of a deal, but it being a new sculpt, I would have expected them to finally just start implementing pinless features into this monster line, hopefully soon. But yeah, great overall details. So in terms of articulation, he's actually very well articulated. So starting with the head, he is on a ball joint, as it is just a little bit big and cumbersome, so it doesn't get a full range of motion, but his upper half of the head does rotate, or not rotate, but like moves around on its own, goes up and down, obviously, a little side to side, left and right, all on its own, which looks weird when this bottom part doesn't move, but the bottom part also moves along with it. It's on like a little, it's more of like a flap. If you can kind of see here, it's like a little separate piece right there. It's not really its own articulation. So basically you just kind of like move the head. This part's just kind of like loose, almost like a scarf in a way. At least mine is. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but it's really just kind of like, it doesn't go up. So you basically have to put his head down to make it look like his mouth is closed. So if you want any head rotation, it's basically all at the top of the head. You got ball jointed shoulders. He does not go out like any really because of his shoulder pads right here, but he does have butterfly joints, so to go back about that far, forward a decent amount. Will rotate full 360. Let's see here, upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. You got some wrist rotation. We'll do a full 360. Hinge in, not very much. Hinge back, just as little, not very much at all. You got kind of an upper diaphragm. Does rotate pretty good, actually. Not too bad. We'll do a full 360 if need be. We'll go forward about that far, back about that far. Then you also have a lower ab crunch. So then you make it go that far and then that far back. Then as far as hips goes, you have ball jointed hips. We'll do the splits about that far. Better than most of the Ranger figures in this line, surprisingly. We'll kick forward about that far. Kick back about that far. More or less just kind of rotates to the side a little bit. Upper thigh swivel. Double jointed knees. Oh, sorry. Fins are kind of in the way. Double jointed knees. We'll go back about that far. You have a rotation at the ankle right here, so like a little ball joint. So we'll do a full 360 if for whatever reason you need to do that. We'll hinge forward about that far, not very far. Back a very good amount, and then side to side. So yeah, peg holes at the bottom. So yeah, overall, all the articulation of a standard Power Ranger Lightning Collection figure just hindered. Well, it's hindered. Oh, I'm sorry. I completely forgot. The tail at the bottom also has an articulation. It doesn't articulate right here. I kind of wish it does so I can bend it back just a little bit. But all the articulation is just in this one little split right here. And it's really just like a 360 type thing. And like it goes forward and backwards just a little bit. Kind of give it that swimming motion, I guess, if that's what you want. But just know that there is articulation in the tail. Not much, but any little bit counts. So yeah, that is the articulation for this figure. Really great figure. Highly recommend it. But let's go ahead and jump into some size comparisons. All right, if you guys remember from my last video, or my last video, I am currently in the middle of the move, and if you guys have ever moved, you know things just don't go up right away. I still have a lot of my toys in boxes. I've been setting up our living area first, obviously. Collection comes after the fact. But here he is next to the most accessible monster I have, which is the Pudgy Pig, which in my opinion was my favorite up until right now. I don't know. I just love these monster figures, and they just seem to be the most prized collection in my collection. I don't know why. The Ranger figures are all right. They're definitely more nostalgic, obviously. But yeah, there he is next to a standard Ranger figure. Great size comparison in my opinion. I know a lot of people are like, oh, these guys are too big, you know, they don't scale well. They're like, oh, they don't scale with the show, and like, yeah, that's a whole nother rant that I've gone into. Personally, I want my big bads to be big bads. So yeah, let's keep it this way, Hasbro. But yeah, that's really all the figures I have access to as of right now. So do I recommend this? Yes, I highly recommend this if you can get this figure. Obviously, these monster lines, because I hate to say it, they don't sell very well because of a lot of people don't really collect the monster line. For one, being they're too big, or two, they just don't like monsters and only want the Rangers. I don't know. For whatever reason, they don't collect them, but I do. Highly recommend it. It'll probably go on sale. I hate to say it, but it'll probably go on sale, just like Pudgy Pig did. I think I saw Pudgy Pig for like $10 at my local Target the other day because it just doesn't sell. But it is what it is. This guy was at GameStop for like $27, so not too bad. The standard pricing on figures nowadays is basically $25 anyway, so to get this for like a couple bucks more really isn't that bad. So until next time, guys, later.